But champ, let's get to basketball. Speaking of a former guy who used to play for my Washington football team, Washington Commanders, RG3. Did you check the news he's been in lately? Did you see him retweeting a post of
Yeah,
Angel Reese?
yeah, he's been in some hot water as of lately, and it's scalding hot right now. So yeah, he's been in some scalding hot water because of the things that he said. Um, Number one, I will say this: nobody was really paying attention to the tweet until he posted it. That's number one. And when Angel Reese made the cover of NBA 2K, everybody was kind of bracing themselves because they knew the knives were going to come. Everybody knew that, Angel Reese is not necessarily the masses' cup of tea. We all know
Right.
that. Let's just not run from it. As far as the masses, she's not the masses' cup of tea. So we kind of knew there was going to be some knives thrown. And if he wanted to say what he had to say as far as, how offensive that tweet was, he could have did it and left it at that. But for him to come out and say what he said as far as, Angel hating Caitlin Clark and someone in her camp, reached out and told him that. And
To
Angel
which
Reese
and her
and
mom.
her mother. When mom get into the picture, it's going down. So and then they come out and just holler at instant lies at a certain point. My thing is this: if you're gonna report on the W, here's my problem with a lot of these guys. If you're gonna report on the W, report on everything. That's number one. If you're gonna report on the W, report on everything. Don't just take this as an opportunity to get clicks and views for your channel. Now, we all know drama is a part of sports. We all know controversy sell. It's all a part of sports. I dig it. But the thing is, if you're going to report on the W, report everything. Don't just take one thing, use it for clicks and views, and then try to make it about yourself. That's the biggest mistake he made, trying to make it about himself. And it's sad. Shaq, you pretty much expected that. He's the president of Reebok right now. Who is signed to Reebok? Angel Reese. So you kind of expected him to come out and say something about that. That doesn't surprise me. But when
As
of
well as the
all
fact
people,
LSU.
yes, and LSU. But when Mark Henry comes out and says something negative about you, I only heard Mark Henry say something negative about one person, and that was Ahmed Johnson. Other than that, I have never heard Mark Henry spew anything bad about anybody.
Oh, I have.
So,
I have. Hulk Hogan.
well, that
Deserved.
yeah, that
Deserved.
that's the
Rightfully
Deserved
so.
food.
Rightfully
Righteous.
so.
Rightfully.
but that right there is like, that's kind of like saying, cheeseburgers are good. It's just like, yeah, somebody gonna say something bad about Hulk Hogan considering who he is. But for Mark
Damn, I
Henry
want a
to come out,
cheeseburger now.
yeah. So for Mark Henry to come out and a lot of these guys to come out and say you was wrong for that, you might need to tighten up your shot groups a little bit more. My thing is with RG3 is this. Like I said, if you're gonna report on the W, report on it right. Don't just report on it when you see the slightest bit of drama taking place so you can capitalize to get clicks and views. That's number one. Number two, you don't have to keep bringing her up in this whole fake beef with Caitlin Clark all the time. If you really look at it, I encourage y'all to do this. I encourage everybody watching to do this. Go to WNBA League Pass or go to YouTube and pay attention to the live streams that they were doing throughout WNBA All-Star Weekend. Go and pay attention to Courtney Williams and Teaspoon's live stream. Go and pay attention to it. They all having fun. They drinking beer. They singing karaoke. Those players are friends. All of them. They hang out with each other. But on that court, it's a whole nother story. On the court, it's a whole nother story. And it's sad that the masses has not caught up to that. We call the NBA soft at this point. Let's just keep it real. All the old heads, this is the softest era that is. Okay, so when we turn on to the W and see these young women playing like the bad boy Pistons, we should cheer. That's the same thing that we're asking for out of the NBA players. And if a person doesn't like someone, everybody's not going to be friends. Should it matter? Candace Parker doesn't like Coach Gino. It's documented. Move on. But we shouldn't be sitting here. The thing is, that whole rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, it's gone. There is no rivalry at this point simply because the Chicago Sky's not that good. It can't be a rivalry when your team is not that good and they're not winning. Number two, Angel Reese has been on a tear lately to the point that even Jason Whitlock put her as an MVP candidate. So
and that's saying something.
That's saying a hell of a lot. So the thing is, when you just can't give props and give credit where credit is due, you always got to revert back to drama. That just goes to show us how much of a shade tree journalist that you really, really are. And you're really just using the W for clicks. Because the thing is, you could have said that's not appropriate and left it at that. But you chose to bring your family into it, to lie on Angel Reese's family and her inner circle. You chose to do all of that. And then you wonder why these grown men are coming at you now. That's flagrant. Say what you had to say about the hateful thing and leave it at that. I'm pretty sure if he would have just said this hatefulness should not be tolerated and he reposted it, that probably would have been the end.
No, champ, I agree. All he had to do was just say that post of Angel Reese was deplorable, inexcusable, and the person should be held accountable. But to say Angel Reese's inner circle confirmed to you that there's hate, see, you defeat the whole purpose. And the reason, champ, I hate when people say that RG3 is just doing it to remain relevant. I didn't want to go there, but I must. I feel like everything Rob Parker said 12 and a half years ago is true. Remember the controversy Rob Parker got when he was on ESPN First Take?
Yes. But
and remember what? Go ahead, champ.
I'll be honest with you. It's not the fact that people always want to relate to what he said about not being cool enough, I will say, to put it in a nice term. People always want to relate to what Rob Parker said about him as you not being quote unquote cool enough. You got to read between the lines on this. But the thing is, with you doing the actions that you have done,
that's my point, champ. Not just that, but also on social media. You know how he talks about milk on social media? He brings it up all the time. I mean, go look at RG3 with his social media. But again, champ, look, with RG3, all he had to do was, look, you already said what you said about with Angel Reese. Okay? Whether we agree or not, fine. That's your opinion. But when you bring up the photo, did you had to bring up the fact that Angel Reese's inner circle? Did you had to bring up that point just to elevate yourself? And to me, when her and her mom are calling you out and accusing you of lying on them, that should tell you something. And then Shaq saying, I'm going to punch you. And then we all know what Ryan Clark had to say, because remember, Ryan Clark, he and RG3 used to work with each other at ESPN. We already heard what Ryan Clark had to say about RG3.
Yeah.
And look, even though I say Angel Reese is a tweener, because again, some of the controversy she does sometimes bring on herself, but my thing is with RG3, it seems like you obsessed with it, bro. It seems like you are obsessed with it. And when Rob Parker said, is he a brother or a cornball brother? It seems like, and considering some of the things that you post on social media regarding milk, regarding all these other things, it's starting for me to believe, hey, maybe Rob Parker is saying what is true. And in the words of the late great Maya Angelou, when someone shows you who they are the first time, hey, believe them.
Believe them.
It's crazy that you were one of the most dynamic quarterbacks that we have ever seen. One of the biggest what if stories. You were Jaden Daniels before Jaden Daniels. It just didn't work out. And not to mention a lot of other things factored into play because, for lack of a better term, I don't think John Gruden was a good coach, and I don't think his brother, and I don't think his brother was a third of what he was. And that's being kind, to be honest with you. Whenever you have guys on that staff like Mike McDaniels and Kyle Shanahan and people like that on the staff, and you can't do so much as reach the playoff and develop a young quarterback like RG3, that's saying something about how much of a lackluster coach that he was. But I digress. Back to this Angel Reese situation. Look, again, you don't have to bring up Caitlin Clark every time Angel Reese's name comes up. And I promise you this. I promise you, just like it's okay to like Bird and Magic, it's okay to like Angel and Caitlin. I'm a fan of both of them. Every time we see both of them win, I think about how far that they can take the WNBA. I think about how many views that if ever the Chicago Sky can get it right and build around her properly, how many views is a 5-game playoff series going to bring to the W when they face off against each other? That's what I think about. But yet, guys are not talking about and giving context to any and everything. They just take the biggest drama situation out of it and just go with that. And it's sad. The thing is about RG3, you didn't have to bring up Caitlin Clark. You didn't have to bring up Angels in a circle, excuse my language. And you didn't have to bring up the fact that you was making it about you and the attacks on your family and stuff like that. You could have just said stuff should not be tolerated and left it at that. But you had to go into this big soliloquy about this and that and the third. Things ain't got nothing to do with what you just tweeted about. And now you're wondering why these grown men are coming at you. And the thing is, say something positive. Just as quick, look, there's an old saying that we have down south, pay as fast as you collect. I will say that again, pay as fast as you collect. You gonna always got something negative to say? If you're gonna talk crap when somebody make an F on the spelling test, be just as fast to give somebody credit when they make all A's on the report card. Right now, Angel Reese is in the lead for the most improved player of the year. And considering the injuries that we've had in the W at this point, she could damn well be second team all WNBA. Say something positive. You don't always have to be this negative commentator to the point where, you just got to say something negative. You got to bring in Caitlin Clark. You got to bring in this make-believe rivalry. And like I stated, if you look at what's going on at the WNBA All-Star Game, as we talk right about now, all the live streams of the players doing their thing, partying, having fun, that shows you that these players are friends. They just got to go on the court and get their money. They're not making that much. Ness, what's going on? But you have to do better as a journalist and as a player, a former player, to elevate these young women so that they can get paid. That's why guys like myself, that's why guys like PSP, guys like BRF talk about the W, because we want to bring traction so they can get paid. So that way, when the finals come, it can become a happening. The way that these games are in the NBA, the way that we look at the NFL. But when the only time that you're speaking about the W is when it comes to some drama or some BS, you don't need to be talking about the W. I don't have a problem with him talking about the W. Let's just be clear. But when
but it's just controversy, champ. That's the problem that I have. And Not controversy. Does controversy always sell? Because again, you did this on your pod. Does controversy sells, right? Because again, with RG3, I don't have a problem with RG3 giving his opinion about Angel Reese regarding her game. But to claim that there's hate, and Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have made it clear that they don't have hate or beef towards each other, but to lie about it, that makes it worse. I mean, and again, you've mentioned this before, champ, with media and journalism, the lack of integrity. It's, I mean, look,
It's
it's
scamming.
because, I mean, just look at Stephen A. Smith of what he said about a certain list, and look at. Do you know how embarrassing that is for a journalist to go on the air? And again, I don't have a problem with Stephen A. Smith giving his political views or anything like that, but for him to say I don't care, considering what it's been accused of, what's been involved of, and who may be on that list allegedly, for him to say I don't care, that to say that is irresponsible does not is an enormous understatement. But back to RG3. You already said what you said with Angel Reese. Let it go. Move on. I do like the fact that Shaq had to come to her defense. Do I like the fact that Shaq had to say, I'm gonna punch you? No, not really. I mean, Shaq is a grown man. Shaq's 50 plus years old. I don't think we need to resort to violence. We don't need to do that. I don't think we don't need to do that. But I think with RG3, man, he's becoming more true. I don't think he's just doing it just to be relevant. I think he's becoming more and more of what he is. So if you, I mean, it doesn't change you, makes you more than what you already are. So I think with RG3, he just put himself in another predicament that should have never happened. And I just think he just made matters worse. Champ had to take care of something real quick. BRF, what are your thoughts about the whole RG3 Angel Reese thing?
Okay. And before I get to that like later on in the show, if you do want to make some time, I do have thoughts about Von Miller going to Washington too. If you do want to make some space, like later on in the show.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. First off, he's not Robert Griffin III anymore to me. Everybody need to start saying it. He is Bob Griffin. He is Bob Griffin. He is not Robert Griffin III. He is Bob Griffin. That's what he is.
What,
That's what
like
he
Bob
is.
the Builder?
Yeah, yes, Bob the Builder, Bob Barker. It don't matter. He's Bob Griffin. He is Bob Griffin right now. I mean, they posted on Twitter. I saw this. I think it was like a stat line. Angel Reese. I think her last I think it's her last 10 or last 8, last 10 or whatever. 19 points, 14 boards, 50% from the field, 58 true shooting, 80% free throws. I mean, just absolutely like she been lights out. And it's the fact that he made it about himself. I can't get with that. Look, I respect you putting, if you're gonna retweet, if you're gonna tweet something like that picture of them basically photoshopping just say it for what it is, for photoshopping a monkey in that on that 2K26 cover in the persona of Angel Reese. If you're gonna quote tweet that, okay, this racism has to stop. You leave it there. Don't go into this whole making it about you, this victim mentality, making yourself the victim in this, and it's like what's the point of you even saying anything once you start opening that can of worms again? Shut up at that point. I don't care what you have to say. The minute you made it about you, I'm not worried anymore. And it's the fact, and my thing is this: like, I know Champ had brought up, the fact that the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever and Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark isn't a rivalry because the Chicago Sky isn't that good. I mean, injuries and whatnot. Is it safe to say the Indiana Fever are one of the most disappointing teams in the WNBA this year?
It's fair to say, given the expectations they had prior to the season.
Exactly. Now I know injuries happen. Injuries are a part of it. But even still, like some of the game, and I know, and like injuries are part of it. But even still, like with Caitlin Clark, for one, she has been getting some criticism as far as her play. She needs more, and deservedly so, because just from the standpoint of her shooting her team out of possessions, making terrible play calls and stuff like that, bad passes, bad shots, like she needs a lot more warranted criticism for how bad she's been playing as of late. But to go back to RG3 though, I mean, it's a real shame that you really had to try to make yourself the center point, the focal point of this whole situation when it ain't even about you. Like Angel Reese over this past month and a half, 2 month stretch has really started to find herself and come into her home as a professional basketball player, has just been lighting it up. And I was one of those that were saying when it was all loud and the criticism was loud and Angel Reese is a bad player and da 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 da, and it was coming from everyone. I'm one of those that's like, yo, let's get this girl a chance to improve. Let's get this girl a chance to get better. Let's not throw her down the rabbit hole just automatically thinking she's going to be this bad for the rest of her career. We saw her in college. We saw her at Maryland. We saw her in LSU. This bad play is not going to keep up. It's not going to stay like this forever. She is going to ultimately find herself. And I was willing to give her a chance to see if she could really improve and really kind of get better, because I kind of felt like she had it in her. And just this stretch of game has been like a pleasure and a sight to behold, because she's becoming like yeah, I'm mentioning in the video that I had made when I was on vacation talking about her. Like you just see it, like it's there, like her fluidity and how she plays, her footwork, her IQ, and like the shots that she's taking better shots, and her playmaking has really been leaps and bounds better, getting everybody involved. And I mean and it was helping at the time that the guard play around her was starting to, like, the guards were starting to make shots and were starting to do a little better. But even still, you could see it's almost like the light bulb clicked off. It clicked on. The bulb clicked on. And she's really kind of ran with that. But and then like, instead of giving her the praise that she absolutely deserves, just RG3 just really not, I don't know. I don't want to insult. No, yo, what's up, champ?
BRF, can I say something real quick? I don't mean to interrupt you. You know, that's not my
No. Go ahead, bro.
You know, there was a lot of reporters and a lot of, bloggers who said, the way Angel Reese acts, how does she act? How? I just want to know that.
Yeah, she's
because
herself.
I didn't, people are getting on to her because she was dancing with Sexy Red. Did y'all not see Sophie Cunningham put her whole ass on the live stream with Sydney Colston? And everybody was looking at how fine she was. Y'all didn't have nothing to say about that, did you? Or how those players.
What have you always told me, champ? People going to perceive you based on how they want to.
Again, yeah, and I'm getting to that. But the thing is, when everybody in that Indiana Fever locker room, it was all over the internet, them dancing behind each other, stuff like that. Everybody was just laughing and talking and what have you. They even had that little soundbite moment where me and you and Flash were just laughing it up in the group chat, with that moment between Sydney Colston and Caitlin Clark. You know what moment I'm talking about. And then, Sophie Cunningham just come in and start twerking in the camera, but they talking about, oh yeah, she danced with Sexy Red. Oh yeah, she got it. Look at the outfit she got on. If you're gonna judge somebody about an outfit that you got on, let me tell you what I wear when I'm not at work. I wear a pair of black sweatpants. I wear a black hoodie, a black t-shirt, and a pair of Nikes. And I got a black t-shirt on right about now that's making so bad about it. I got half the outfit on that I have on a regular basis. With that logic, would you justify somebody beating the hell out of me on the streets? With that logic?
Thank you.
Because of what somebody is wearing? With the whole thing about her saying on her podcast, if they don't give us what we want, we gonna sit out. Last I checked, everybody in the damn WNBA was saying that, including one of the best players in the league, Nafisa Courier. And even Satu Sabali, when they expanded the team, when they had the expansion of the team, she said the collective bargaining was a slap in the face. We might sit out. Oh, but nobody wants to say anything about that. It's only when Angel does it. Like I said, Sophie stuck her whole behind in the camera and twerked in front of the camera. I mean, but, oh yeah, what about the stuff she wore to Wild 'N Out? Like I said, I wear black, and this is in the middle of the summer. When I go over my friend's house in order to watch a game, black hoodie, black sweatpants, black shoes. With that logic, I deserve for somebody to snatch me off the streets and beat the hell out of me and be a hashtag with that logic. And if you don't know what I mean behind that, then guess what? You're out of touch. So with all of this stuff, well, the stuff she does, what does she do other than be young? Y'all had a lot of shit to say about Sadua Sanders, but look where he at right about now. He up there hanging out with the people, making donations and doing everything with the people who houses caught on fire on Cleveland's east side. But you had a lot of shit to say when he came out of the draft. Same thing with Angel. It gets to a point where the thing is, you don't want to holler and take the easy way out of talking about the R word. Because the thing is, every player in the W is doing it. But when you're sitting around here trying to frame somebody up about what they wear, about how they're talking, about how they're doing this, but then you got the damn hush mouth when somebody is shining like the sun, then maybe you need to shut the hell up when it comes to everything else. Because like I said, look at what she wore on Wild 'N Out. She deserves to be criticized. Have you looked at her tunnel as of lately on Instagram? Have you looked at that? Has anybody looked at WNBA her tunnel? Do y'all see some of the sultry outfits that they have on that? How sexy those outfits are? Have y'all seen that? Go to her tunnel. You'll see how cool they look, like models going through the runway. So guess what? If you're going to have that criticism for one, have it for everybody. Don't nobody want to hear these certain criticisms. How she acts, how she acted. Is she out here breaking the law? Last I checked during her offseason, she went out there, won a championship with Unrivaled, which she got hurt at right before the championship game. She won Defensive Player of the Year, went to Met Gala, and went to a couple of football games. What young player doesn't do that? And started up a damn podcast, got 5 different endorsements, and that was it. She wasn't getting in trouble. She wasn't out here getting DUIs, getting caught at massage parlors. That wasn't her doing that. But yet she was in the headlines for the masses more than anybody was. It comes a time where you have to call stuff for what it is. And like I said, I'm not going to take the easy way out and say, certain stuff, because guess what? I don't have to. It's already there. But if you're going to criticize one, criticize everybody.
I agree, champ. But unfortunately, people you've told me before, people going to perceive you the way they want to perceive you.
Right.
And sadly, that's what it is. But with RG3, he did this to himself. If he's going to blame somebody, he's going to blame himself. All he had to do was look. You already said what you said with Angel Reese. Keep it moving. No one is knocking you for giving your opinion on Angel Reese, the basketball player, regarding her game. But to retweet the photo and to put yourself in that type of situation once again. And again, with Rob Parker, I mentioned it with Rob Parker. Is he a brother or a cornball brother? Because anytime when you go on social media, you're saying Rob Parker called it, nailed it. And when you look at RG3, how he posts on social media, no, champ, I've told you before, the way he talks about milk and a lot of other things. Am I lying?
No, you're not. And the sad thing about that, people gave Ryan Clark a hell of a lot of backlash for calling him out on that. For saying, and he even said himself, and people don't want to, people like to skip over parts. It's kind of like you're watching The Lion King, but you go straight to Uncle Scar dying. People like to skip over exactly what he said. He said he always refers to his wife as milk and how he has an appetite for milk. However, I think the woman that he's married to, his wife, is more than that. People like to skip out that part. They don't like to say that. Now, granted, when you use anybody's wife, mom, girlfriend, or sister in any type of context, you're going to get some pushback for that. But the thing is, the fact that he said, hey, I think she's more than just milk. I think she's more than just what he says. That tells you everything that you need to know. And people are going to criticize Ryan Clark because, you know, he's very, very militant in the eyes of the masses. In the eyes of the masses, I would say. He has a lot of militant speech in which, hey, it's okay. But the thing is, when you're constantly doing something and it becomes a spectacle at a certain point.
Has to be who you are. At some point, I mean, if you're doing it more than once, then what does it say about you and your character? RG3, look, when your integrity is on the line, when both Angel Reese and her mom are calling you out for being a liar,
Yes.
and when your actions are becoming more obvious, then it has to say something about you. It really does.
Yes, indeed.
It really does.